Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're reacting to a TikTok. Okay, so this girl that we're gonna react to made a list of signals that a man will not provide for you. So we're gonna watch, and I'll probably pause after each point that she makes on the list to share my thoughts and sort of elaborate. Her TikTok handle is Maren Skog. Maren, that is a very cool name. Just wanted to mention that really quick before we get started. Now, I also want to mention this before your little fingers get to work typing up a heated comment because you heard the word provider. Let's remember that providing goes much further than just finances. When a woman says she wants a provider, it includes emotional support, safety, security. There are so many aspects of emotional, psychological, and practical support that a man can provide for a woman. So essentially, I would go as far as to say these signals that she's going to talk about probably just signal that a guy is not really husband material. Anyway.
Hey guys, welcome to my list titled Signals a Man Will Never Provide for You. I need you to listen. If he has an aesthetic Instagram, open a Roth IRA. What the fuck are you doing, like planning a photo dump, dude? Like, invest.
Number one, an aesthetic Instagram. I think unless it's something related to a guy's job, I can totally see where she's coming from here. For example, if you do photography, graphic design, something artsy, like I think you'd be safe in this scenario because obviously you care more about aesthetics and the look of things. She said, open a Roth IRA. What are you doing planning out a photo dump, dude? If you're doing this for your job, you're running a business, I think that's a very different thing. But if a guy was just posting a ton on Instagram, caring about exactly the way things looked, being very curated about it, I don't know if I would necessarily be into that or think that this man is going to be husband sort of material. Like, to me, it would come across like he's just very obsessed with himself and the way that he's presenting his life on social media. And I'm sure that you guys feel that way about women who do this sometimes as well. So it absolutely goes both ways. But yeah, she's not wrong. And I think there are far more important things to be doing than posting a photo dump on Instagram. So anyway.
Text in lowercase? That's for women. Women. I don't even do that.
Okay, her next one is text in lowercase. I feel like this is just a young thing in general to do. So maybe this would depend on your age. If a 17-year-old is texting all lowercase with no punctuation, no nothing, okay. But if you're 40, let's use proper capitalization and grammar, please. I think it's different if you just do this on a whim, but if you are deliberately only texting in lowercase, never using a capital letter, never using any punctuation, first of all, a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunication can happen when you don't use proper grammar and punctuation and all that. But yeah, I would just think that's kind of odd. And again, a young thing to do. It's kind of like a guy using Snapchat. Like, that's the same vibe it gives off to me.
Has a messy room. You're going to spend the rest of your life picking up after that man, like a child.
Yeah, you know, a messy room, not great. Your space is a reflection of your mind, they say. I do think this one could be a little bit more nuanced, but I don't think it's attractive at all when a man does not keep his personal space tidy and he's living in an absolute mess. Again, this is different if it's out of your control. You're living with your parents are messy. There are certain situations where this is out of your control, and I wouldn't put it in the same category. But if you are a man who has your own place, you're living on your own, and you are just living in a pigsty, you never pick up after yourself, you have plates and silverware everywhere, you never put away your dishes after you eat, you never clean your dishes, like, it's just not a good look. Picking up or cleaning up after yourself is a sign of personal accountability, and you shouldn't expect anyone to do that for you unless you can pay a maid to come and clean your house. But yeah, a messy room, red flag.
DoorDash is every meal. Get off your ass. Get up. Why are you DoorDashing shit?
Listen, I hate to say this one's true, but it's true. DoorDashing almost every single meal is crazy behavior. It's a total waste of money, first of all, but also, if you're going to eat out, at least go get the food yourself. I can understand that in certain scenarios, meal delivery would make sense, but every meal is seriously unhinged. It's unhinged. And let it be known, I am not talking about people with some sort of disability who need help or assistance getting meals to them. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone who is fully capable of either making themselves a meal or going out and getting themselves something to eat, and instead they're choosing to DoorDash every single meal. That is seriously, if you are doing that, let this be your sign to do some personal reflection. Could never be me. And if a man was doing that, not into it.
Loves gambling. I understand a parlay here and there, okay? I do it too. But if you like love gambling, you're gonna gamble away your kid's college fund. What's your wife gonna have to do? Pick up 2 jobs. 2.
I think this one speaks for itself. This becomes a full-blown addiction for a lot of people, like more than you would think. And it not only negatively impacts you, but also everyone around you. Your entire family is a incredibly slippery slope. And I have seen too many crime shows where a gambling addiction leads to murder. So again, this one is going to be a no from me. Not great. I reacted to a list that went viral on the internet about the least attractive hobbies for men. I think it turned out to be fake, whatever, but one of the things on there was gambling, and in that video, I talked a little bit about gambling and why that's unattractive, and also why it's dangerous and destructive behavior for a lot of people. So if you want a little bit more detail there from me or what I think about it, go watch that video. This would just signal to me that this person engages in a lot of risky behavior. Yeah, someone who is obsessed with gambling is not necessarily giving off security and stability vibes from me.
Owns anything designer. Do you think a stable man with a great income that's providing for a wife and kids is wearing a Van Cleef bracelet? Answer quick. They're not going to protect your family from shit. If I was an intruder, I would target a man with a Van Cleef bracelet, because what is he going to do?
Oh man, she really went on this one. You know, I don't even have a Van Cleef bracelet, so if my man had a Van Cleef bracelet and I didn't, I might be just a little bit concerned. Now, if this guy is spending all his money or going into debt for designer stuff for himself and leaving his wife and kids in the freaking dust, then yeah. But let's be honest, I do think there are a lot of men out there who very much care about the way that they present themselves. They like the flashy things. They like to put on a certain front. And they, make enough money to do that, and they like to have nice things, and they probably own designer things, and at the same time provide for their families. I think a lot of people with money spend money on things that show they have money. It's a very new money thing to do. I can't personally say that I'm attracted to a guy who is, dripping in designer from head to toe. That's not my vibe. I like more of the understated, subdued, can't tell that something was expensive type of look, but to each their own. But I do think there are a lot of men out there who have very nice things, designer things, and still provide. I see it all the time on TikTok. Whether it's real or not, it's a different story. But a Van Cleef bracelet, I'm not really into that on a guy, if you want my personal opinion. A man with a watch, perfection. I think a luxury watch and a Van Cleef bracelet would give off 2 very different vibes. And I'm choosing the man with the watch every time.
Has some kind of ambiguous way of making money on the internet. Oh, I do, internet marketing. I do, stocks and crypto. Clock in. Then clock in. Then show me the dashboard.
An ambiguous way of making money on the internet. Yeah, this is kind of scammer vibes, the way that she's describing it. We all know a guy like that. I know exactly what she's talking about. However, just to play devil's advocate, I do think that there are so many ways to make money now, especially on the internet. There are truly so many ways to make money in this economy. So good for you if you have found a way to do that. As long as you're not being scummy about it or you're involved in some sort of Ponzi scheme or scam, I'm okay with it. I also think there might be a different way to look at this one, where if a guy is spending a lot of time, trying to figure out different ways to make money, doing different things that maybe give him flexibility in his everyday life, that might make him, a great partner. Maybe he's ambitious, creative, entrepreneurial, wants the freedom and the flexibility to spend time with his family. Just a thought. Again, as long as you're not being a scammer.
Doesn't eat meat. Or has a ton of dietary restrictions.
Oh my goodness.
You think a man that's a vegan is gonna protect me from... We're walking on the side of the road, we get jumped. You think a vegan is gonna help anything?
Oh my gosh. She is really getting crazy with these. Doesn't eat meat. Some dietary restrictions are out of people's control, so we can give a little bit of grace there. But yeah, I've got to be honest, I like a man who eats meat. Cooking is enough work as it is. I don't want to have to make an entire different meal for a vegan. And also, you need protein. We need to make sure we're getting enough protein. So if you're someone who doesn't eat meat, you need to be looking at how much protein you're eating per day. Because I think this is something that is making people less attractive, not eating enough protein. I talked about this in a video about things that are making men ugly. It's so true. Look up the benefits. Okay?
If there's like a selfie on his Instagram, a mirror selfie, even just a photo of just him, what are you doing?
So a selfie or a mirror selfie, rough. I think a selfie is different than like maybe a nice photo of yourself that someone else took of you. And I'll just come out and say it. This is absolutely a double standard because women do this all the time. But I do agree with her. A guy that's continuously posting selfies on his Instagram is not signaling to me that he is husband material or could stop thinking about himself or talking about himself for 5 seconds to even get to know me. And honestly, I think a woman taking selfies in excess could also be a red flag. I've got to be honest. But I digress.
Plays video games like all the time. You could be doing so many other things. Weird.
Now, a lot of you will know my stance on video games from the hobby video that I did, but I think the emphasis here is on all the time. I think you can absolutely enjoy your free time and play video games to unwind. I know this is a fun hobby for a lot of you, and that is totally fine. I like watching people play video games, but the problem is when video games, or any hobby really, start to take priority over your responsibilities and getting things done that you need to get done. And I would say this about other things too, not just video games. Watching Netflix, sports, etc. It becomes an issue when it takes priority over your responsibilities and you start to stink at being an adult. Like, this is not summer going into 9th grade. We can't just play video games all day, every day. We've got responsibilities. We've got things to get done. We got a family to provide for one day. Okay, now we're gonna go into signs he will provide.
Signs he will provide. Doesn't understand social media trends or most memes. I'll like think of a meme in my head or like some kind of like funny little social media thing, and I know I can't say it to my boyfriend because he's not gonna know what the I'm talking about. And I thank God every single time I have one of those moments. I had to explain to him what Freak Bob was. He thought it was so funny. I was like, we're like 3 months behind on all the things that you think are funny. But I love that.
Well, I also do not know what Freak Bob is, so I guess I'm out of the loop too, but she makes a point, okay? I have to explain every single TikTok trend to my husband, and he is always so confused. God love him. He only uses TikTok to post business content. He doesn't use it for entertainment, which I'll be honest, I love this about him. I adore this about this man. Somehow he is not chronically online, even though a huge part of his job is to show up online. So I can totally see where she's coming from. It is so attractive when a man is not like so obsessed with social media. The same way a lot of you guys think that about women. Like, it's kind of unattractive when a woman is so consumed and obsessed with social media for a lot of you.
Doesn't have TikTok, barely posts on Instagram. I want your only post to be like you and friends or family once a year, or just your girlfriend.
Again, here, just my personal experience. My husband only uses Instagram for business purposes, and I love that about him. Again, he's not all consumed with social media, and I think it's attractive. So,
if they use emojis, it's like very like dad emojis. Like a thumbs up. Like, okay. Or just no emojis at all. I don't want you to understand like what emojis you can only use ironically. I want you to not know any of that.
This one's a little crazy. I like emojis, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think my husband really only uses a rotation of like 3 emojis. He doesn't even use an emoji for a smiley face. He will send me a manually made smiley face with the ... curve. She's onto something here.
Only uses Instagram to post a photo dump or some poorly taken photo or like just his girlfriend. You should not know how to work the app at all. Doesn't know who Libby Dunn is. Not because I'm like, oh, you're gonna like her. Because that's just a level of like on the internet that like you just don't need to have. I remember I asked my boyfriend who Libby Dunn is. He goes, who? I was like, do you know who Alex Earl is? No. I love you. So, bye.
So essentially, a guy who isn't chronically online. Just another reason to go outside and touch some grass, gentlemen. And again, these are signals, things that you can see from the outside before you know a person that are going to send a signal of, is this guy husband material? Is he not? The same way that I'm sure a lot of you guys have opinions on this about women. Are the things that she's doing signaling to me that she would be wife material or girlfriend material or none of the above? Like, there are things we do that, whether we like it or not, make us come across a certain way. And I think what's really interesting about this today is that not only does this include the way that we show up, like the way that you present yourself, you as an individual, as a person, but it's also branched out to include things that are sort of an extension of us. The way that we use social media, our social media accounts. It's incredibly interesting to me, but I do think she has a point. I'm sure a lot of you will be up in arms in the comments because you didn't like the video, but I think when you really break down each point, like, I can see where she's coming from. And again, whether we like it or not, the things that we do send a message or send a signal. And, from the outside looking in, when you don't necessarily know everything about a person, things that person is doing or posting or the way they're acting can say more about them than maybe they realize. So were some of these things a bit exaggerated and a bit dramatic? Of course, it's a TikTok video. But I think when you really break it down, these are surface level things that just might not necessarily come across the greatest to the opposite sex. And hearing from a woman's perspective who thinks these things can be helpful for you, whether you take it into consideration and apply it, or whether you completely disregard it and keep doing your thing. I just like to share different opinions from women that are not only my own. I'm sure my list would have looked a little bit different. I can do that if you guys would want me to. Like signs that a guy's husband material, signs that a guy's not husband material. I could also include things that aren't so surface level, maybe that dig a little bit deeper. But you guys can let me know if you would want to see that down in the comments below. So let me know what you thought of the video. Please, I beg you, keep it productive down in the comments. Do not, and I repeat, do not send this creator any sort of animosity or be mean. That is not what I want to be promoting on this channel. I just like to share other people's perspectives and opinions and react and give you my own. Let's remember to be kind, and we don't always have to agree to get along, okay? If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. And if you have any content, a TikTok video, something else that you want me to react to, please send it my way. I love getting reaction videos straight from you guys to give you guys the reactions that you want. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.